scoping out is more important than scoping in. So you need to come up with the boundaries and say that this is out of this and this is in. So for that one, after all of this is done, what we call as a boss card or the terms of reference, it's a Prince2 term, but it's very widely used in pretty much all the project management kind of a thing. So it would really help you to come up with this, because it's basically says that background, what is the background? What are the objectives? What's the scope? Who are the customers? Who are the authority or the sign off? Who's got the responsibility? What are the dependencies? So that's called boss card, a very valuable tool. I would suggest you can use that to your advantage. I'll share that template. I've got a template and I'll share that with you. We can perhaps go through in one of the sessions in the coming sessions about how to create this boss card for your projects. Very good for any type of work, any kind of a project, any type of product application, even small, big, doesn't matter. Having this terms of reference, that's called TOR, very, very valuable. It's a good starting point for anything. So with this one, once you create this boss card, the terms of reference, you have pretty much a great idea about what the problem is, what are the opportunities that you have, who are the stakeholders, what kind of work is required to do, what are the dependencies, right? All of these constraints, everything is actually pretty clear. What are the goals? What are the objectives in terms of the business and also the project? So all of these are pretty clear and you're specific in that. So once you do that definition, once you're clear with that, you come up with the measures of how you can assess whether in the right track or not, whether in the right direction and whether you're going in the right, with the right speed or not. And that's where you come up with some kind of measures and metrics. And that's where, for example, if it's to do with a project, so the project schedule variance, effort, how difficult, what is the initial effort estimate and what's the effort, the actual effort that we are spending. And that's why we actually track the capacity, the velocity in agile context. And then the defects, for example, the number of defects that we have caught in every release, the defect density, what is it, review efficiency. All of these are different metrics that we can use, the productivity. All of these are different metrics, the measures that we can actually try and keep track of to understand how we're performing as a process, and also the product. We can assess two things. One, the process that we're following, how we're doing the things. And the second thing, we can also assess and measure the quality of the product, which is different. So product metrics are different from the project metrics. So again, or the process metrics. So we need to be clear about each of these and then put down. So that's where we discussed yesterday, the balanced business scorecard. We had a look at how you can come up with the financial, the learning and development, the internal processes and the customer, all those different dimensions, how you can come up with that and how you can measure yourself, what are kind of critical success factors, the CSFs, the key process indicators, and then the performance targets for each of them. We define that, right? So you want to increase for example, you want to increase the customer satisfaction by 60%, right? So that's this customer satisfaction is a critical success factor. And the KPI for that could be the customer retention, the rate of customer retention. And then the performance target would be, for example, if you want to retain 30% of your existing customers into the next 1 or 2 years, that is a performance target for you, the number, 30%, 20%, whatever. So again, we'll discuss these in greater detail later, but it's important for you to understand that we need to have some measures to put in place and to make sure that if you don't measure, you can't manage, right? So measures are there to make sure that you manage the processes, you manage the products, you manage your projects well. And that's why we need to have them in place. And we also need to have baselines to understand where we are now vis-a-vis where you want to go. So the expected, what is the current set of measures and what do you want to do in the next 2 years, 6 months, 2 months, and next week, right? So you need to have that. For that, we need to have the existing data sets. We can actually have some of the industry standards. We can take some of the industry standard measures and metrics. We can refer to the reports that are available, and then we can use them as a starting point if we don't have anything like that. So again, what cannot be measured cannot be managed. It's very important to have the measures. So you define, you measure, and then what you do once you have the measures in place, you start analyzing. You actually perform, you implement, you execute the project, and you analyze how we are doing, and then you come up with whether we're doing in the right direction or not. How are they measuring up in terms of the baseline metrics